Well, g'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And it's been nearly a month since I've put out a video with my Accord Euro, and so by now you're probably all wondering, what have I done with it? So as you all know, I installed a Type R gear set on the Accord, which was really cool, and when I got it installed I drove it around the first few gears and I was like, oh mate, this feels absolutely fantastic. But then I shifted into 6th, put my foot on the throttle, and it went bunk and popped out of 6th, and I went, well that's a substantial problem. And as it turns out, at least we think it's because the Type R 6th gear has triple cone synchros, and the Accord 6th just has like a single cone synchro or something like that, and so they weren't really marrying up properly, and you know, aside from doing some sort of mixing and matching of the parts, it just wasn't really going to work. So we installed the Type R 6th gear, to pull the gearbox out again, installed the Type R 6th, got it in, shifted up through the gears and everything, shifted into 6th gear, and it's working great. So now we have a 6th gear. However, then 3rd gear was problematic, and it was perfectly fine before, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with the gear set that was provided. It just straight up wasn't installed right. It would go in eventually, but it was kind of crunchy, and you could just tell, you could feel when you were engaging it, that it was only engaging in like the last, 5 millimeters of the gearbox travel. And it wasn't quite engaging all the way. So something, again, was not installed right. So we pulled it out for a second time and tried to diagnose the problem. We found this time, we thought it was the detent spring, that was the ball in the detent spring or something had been pushed in further than it should have been, something like that, I'm not really sure. And so they fixed that, put it all back together again, drove it out, first, second, third gear's shifting perfectly fine, put it into 4th, put my foot on the throttle, and thing it popped out at 4th again. So exact same problem that was happening with 6th was now happening with 4th. And by this point, I'm getting sick of it, my mechanic's getting sick of it, and it's just a really crap time, to be honest. This is now the 3rd time we've pulled the gearbox out, which is an enormous job. And at this point, I'm just completely regretting even doing it at all. I'm like, oh, the stock gear ratios weren't that bad, and it'll save me nearly $2,500. So I'm here, I'm driving a Jazz Manny down to Motortech Transmissions, who are in theory some local transmission specialist. In the back seat, thanks to the Jazz Magic seat system, I've got a gearbox back there, and in the boot I've got all the bits from the stock gears, and I'm basically just going to give it to them and say I don't care what it costs, just fix my car please. I know you guys have been asking for Accord videos, and as much as I'd love to put more videos out and I've got plenty of ideas ready to go, I just can't because my car is all in bits again, and it has been in bits for like the last month. So I've been exhausting my supply of reviews and other random videos that I've put out that normally I would put sort of in between a few Accord videos to keep the content fresh, So stay tuned, the Accord will be back. I apologise that it's not been present for the last little while, but this dang gearbox has just been a never-ending headache. But we'll get it fixed, we'll get the Accord back on the road and hitting some VTEC, and then I can get out of this. I mean, it's a pretty good little car, this little Jazz, but I am looking forward to driving something with that K in the bay, if you know what I mean. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life. I will go and drop my gearbox off at Motortech Transmissions. And if you want to see some of my Accord videos that I have already put out, if you really want to keep watching Accord videos, then click over here to see me installing headers on the car, and click over here to see me installing that Type R gear set. And I will look forward to seeing you again next time.